There are a lot of. With the shortest trying to figure out.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Houston Planning Board meeting. My name is Suzanne Cahill. I am the planning director for the City of Houston. Before we begin the meeting, I want to just go over a few quick announcements. If you do have a cell phone, I'm going to ask that you please put it on silent so that it won't interfere with the meeting. If we have an emergency, we're going to ask that you please do not use the elevator, use the stairs. If you need assistance, please ask us. If you have any conversations that you need to have and they're not with the planning board, we just ask that you please take them outside. Conference room 2 has a meeting going on, but you're welcome to use the chambers. Bathrooms are out the door and through the chambers. On the opposite side of the building, men's is to the left and women's to the right. I do want everybody to also be aware that we are live streaming the meeting and it is being recorded. So be cognizant of that in your speech and your actions. And with that, I'm going to open the meeting at 6:02 p.m. and turn it over to Kevin Platt to introduce the other members present and staff.
Thank you, Suzanne. Introductions. Again, my name is Wayne Platt. We also have Charles Blacco, Matt Gillis, Vince Archer, Sage Newkirk, and Kyra Grundy. You've already met Suzanne Cahill, our planning director. Kyla Day is the assistant planner. And welcome aboard to Alderwoman Ruth Katz, our common council liaison to the planning board. All right, item number 1 is the adoption of the December 8th, 2025 planning board meeting minutes. Everybody's had an opportunity to look at them. Any questions, additions, or deletions on them? Seeing none, at this time we'll make a motion that we adopt those minutes. Do I have a second? Matt Gillis with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Excuse me. Moving on to public hearings, item number 2 is 256 Washington Avenue. It's a public hearing for administrative renewal of a 10-room boarding house. Section block of lot is 56.90-4-36. Secret determination, Transect T4 and Ward 3, 256 Washington Avenue LLC is the applicant for it. Anybody besides the applicant or owner wishing to speak on item number 2? This is just administrative?
So this is, yes, we are only doing this for public hearing tonight. It's a no special permit, so we're handling it administratively. There are no changes to any of the conditions. But we have to have a public hearing, so we almost like we will renew probably to be consistent with our August renewals when it does not meet, and then the renewals will take place administratively that way. I'm just going to make a note for the record. Does the board have any recommendation on any renewal term?
This is just going to August for this one, right?
Huh?
This is just going to August for this one?
Right.
I mean, they still have an active building permit on it, right? They're still not.
This only covers the 10-room boarding house
Just the one.
in the rear.
Okay.
Yes. The other was straight site.
All right, so this one is currently occupied?
Currently occupied,
Okay.
fully occupied.
Okay.
And there's no changes to it. They're just renewing it.
Hmm?
There's no project plan for it. This part of the building, right?
Just a renewal.
And there's no issues with KPP and
No,
all that?
there's, minor stuff, but it's nothing.
So to get it to August would be a 7-month renewal. Do you want a 19-month? What are you recommending for this?
I'm thinking to take it to August and then just do annual renewals. That was in the, your original resolution said annual renewals. That's something you could modify. You said annual renewals, in the resolution, it's not required to be an annual renewal by code, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we could look at,
In the past, have there been issues with this?
just a different ownership.
Maybe
What
just-
Chiz is prior to this, now it's a new company, a new corporation that owns it.
We don't want to leave it open-ended, right? And let's just.
I mean, I would say boarding house annual renewal.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. We'll
then
con-
if there's any.
So we'll continue that. Okay, great.
Quickly.
Any other discussion on this? All right, so this time I'll make a motion that we're going to close the public hearing.
Yep.
Make a motion to close the public hearing. Matt Gillis with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Barry? So that was the first one. All right. Under new business, 329, this is item number 329 Foxwell Avenue. Site plan and major waivers to renovate an existing building and construct an addition for wholesale and retail ice cream cakes, section block and lot 48.318-8-7, Transect Zone T4 and Ward 6. Rich Boyce is the applicant. Foxwell Enterprises LLC is the owner.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you? I'm Dan Gallagher, Optimus Architecture, from representing Rich Boyce,
Okay.
Foxwell, the project.
Howard is putting it up on the screen behind you. We have all remembered that.
Yes,
We
That's okay.
approved,
It's been a while, so I apologize for not that. Just for the wait.
no, we approved a, different variation of this, I forget the exact date, but, prior to, this, and it was a much larger addition that was going to go all the way to the street, if you recall. And they are scaling it back, due to economic, costs of building that addition. So there's two structures currently on the property. One is still to be demolished, and a smaller addition, one will be retained and restored, renovated, and a smaller addition will be added to that. So this shows existing conditions here. And then this one shows the building to be retained and the small addition. And Dan will take it from there.
sure. Right, so this is the existing garage. What Rich wants to do is add a freezer and a refrigerator onto the side of that building. But it will be enclosed and it'll be sided to match the existing building. The existing building siding and roofing will all be removed and replaced with new. The existing gravel drive will remain. The existing concrete patio will be patched and extended just to connect to the gravel driveway. And we are proposing some new plantings along the existing sidewalk that's there now. If you want to go to the next slide, please. This is the existing garage that's on the site now. This is the floor plan of it. The interior would be demolished. And then this is the existing, CMU block foundation, garage door, wood slat siding. It's in pretty bad shape right now. If you want to go to the next slide. So the new proposal is to create a new bathroom inside, an open plant where he will have soft serve ice cream machines where he's going to make his cakes. This is to make ice cream cakes for wholesale and retail use. And then a new refrigerator and a new freezer. So we're proposing new board and bat siding, new lighting, some minimal signage. This is where the garage door was. It'll be a new aluminum and glass system, new windows, and that's basically it. New gutters, no downspouts. Storm will just go onto the ground. It's, very minimal.
So as in the previous
Yep.
submission you were here for,
Yeah,
this is not retail space, right? This is not going to be people coming in,
Correct.
Okay.
correct. Yeah,
I don't think the original one was either.
No, that's what I'm saying, it's,
Yeah, he did.
It had a very small area.
It's like an ice cream kind of followed. You could walk in with a small, like, just a very small area, but you could buy cones and think he was gonna have stuff like that.
that was part of the last,
The original,
my one was just for cakes the last time.
No, it
yeah.
was for both, but this one, he just wants to do the cakes and wholesale.
I thought, God, I got a store was just for cakes.
The compliance issue was over the wholesale operation and that's what and we need to do this part of it, right? For operating the commercial side of it, how, of that.
No, the retail brought into, like having to have the glazing in the front, was those, zoning regulations.
All the glass, all the.
And then there's also the height issue, like the retail zoning required like a 12-foot floor above requirement. There were other issues with that.
But the scale of the operation to have it in the space versus the space that was originally proposed hasn't changed. It's just been like.
Revised, yeah, reduced, yeah.
But the amount of people and the staffing and stuff like that, has that been changed?
Yeah, he's not gonna have as much staff here, it's just gonna be him and his daughter. Doing
Yes,
this.
no, that was also another, you could go there and pick up your order,
Right.
your cake order and all that. That won't happen at this location. It'll be at the main store.
This will feed the main store with the cakes and
This
everything.
will be the cake assembly kind of.
Yeah, yeah, and then he plans to take them to stores or, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you wanna just go to the next slide, please. Yeah, this is the, site plan. We're proposing to bring in a new water, service, a new gas service, and then a new sewer service. And also as part of this project, as I understand, not part of this project, but part of City of Kingston is redoing Foxhall Ave, so there will eventually be a new sidewalk, like in the area.
Is there a time frame of the Foxhole project when that'll take place?
We're gonna probably look to be starting, I believe, next year, or maybe the end of this year, but, this area, I guess, we're gonna be starting on, as this area is not gonna be started immediately, so this location might be a couple of years out.
So it's gonna be published? On the ends.
Flatbush, yeah. I don't know, they're starting on both ends and working towards the middle, one end first, that has not, the logistics have not been, but they wouldn't start in the middle.
You remember where Rockville Blast was? Yep. Right next to
This place, yes.
Yeah.
Martin used to be a monument.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
It made monument.
So a little discussion of the previous mission, but I mean, that's all been hammered out already, right? Deliveries, all that, so.
Well, you can ask, they're a little different, obviously, but pretty much the same, smaller box truck type of deliveries. I don't know if we had the information on frequency. Mhm.
Will there be a vehicle left on site, for?
He has, you know, like Swans had those video trucks, that's what he has.
Like a
shorter of those.
box.
Yeah, lower,
Yeah, okay.
but he has with the doors inside.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I don't know if he plans on keeping it on the site or at his house.
Yeah. There was a question on the link sleeping. On this, on that plan, you're showing it along the street.
I saw this, yeah, and then that's not, yeah, and then if you see the other plan, it's up by the,
Right,
like, that, it
right.
should be back here, so this would all be
so
going south.
that's not, so that's,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
all right, so we'll need
So-
that to be
that's a printing,
modified.
yeah.
And then there was a note that juniper is not native, so we would
Okay.
need a swap for that. If you
Okay.
want suggestions, we can hook you up with the city's forester and he
Okay.
can give you some suggestions.
Yeah, that'd be great.
alternatives that
Okay,
you can choose from.
sounds good.
So overall, the intensity of the site has been reduced because there's no retail component now, right? It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is the plan for revenues still the same? What's the trash situation? I remember us discussing that, and I remember us discussing parking, which now is not a non-issue.
Under the original review, he was going to take it off site himself. Just I'm assuming that's the case.
Yeah.
Were any of these waivers discussed first? Go.
No, one of, the reason for, the waivers, you've got multiple waivers here to consider. If you wanna look at what they are, and if you've gone through the staff notes, we've put them, in order. There's a facade transparency requirement for the ground floor non-retail. You have, your front, your setback, because technically you have to build within the build to zone along the street. But the building that's being
Sorry.
retained is already set extremely far back.
Yeah.
And the addition is not large enough to even get to that front build to zone. So that is a waiver that is being requested that you need to discuss. And then the other one is the rear setback. In this particular zone, it's required to be 10 feet. And I believe you have, my memory, like 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
In
then
the
the
back.
difference even.
And it's even, you know,
Yeah.
and the existing building is
It's less.
obviously not set back,
Mm.
accordingly, so they're trying to obviously be in line with the backside of the existing structure.
Yeah, with the other
That
way,
order.
I would look at it,
Right.
out of character. What are we at with percentages for the facade transparency in this application?
It was 22%, and it's required to be 30%. So it's an 8% deviation.
Is there a reason for the deviation? Like,
Just because we were, are we using the existing opening from the existing garage?
I'll say we stay with the same.
Now, is that just facade on the street side?
Street, it's a street facing transparency.
Yes.
Obviously, the addition is a cooler and, on the front end, it's a walk-in refrigeration system. So you really can't have a window,
Yeah.
in that, it wouldn't be economical. And the other side, they basically used where the garage door is and made that 100% of their transparency. The other side of that building is, I believe, the floor plan's right there, is more of a workspace.
Right.
There might be an opportunity to put a smaller window there, I'm not sure, to make it up.
Would that look out of
To
place?
get you. Not necessarily, I don't believe so, something you see like on the side of the building there.
I mean, here, there could be
There,
a window, yeah.
and you can probably get, I think, if not close, if not meet the transparency, but you'll get a lot closer.
I think on that front, to the left of the main,
Yes.
that would fit nicely.
Yeah,
But that's only up to 30%, that would give them to.
I don't know if it would quite get them there, but it would get them much closer, and I think then you would at least have,
It's the only other location be above the basin sink, which is gonna be looking at the building next door.
Right, and there is a window there, it's existing.
Right, you can't, this is the front side of the building,
Yeah.
not the sides, only the front
Yeah, only this.
facade. That's what we're concerned with.
The operation itself, I think that if it was on that left-hand side, our left-hand side, natural light in that part of the space, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing,
No.
you know? And to
Yeah.
be able to see straight out, and it's just gonna give you that much more perception of what's going on in front of your business.
Yeah, I think there would be nice.
We can handle it.
Okay.
But it makes sense to like, I understand from the cost savings, using what the existing part of it is.
And then setbacks, there's not much you can do about that.
No,
So,
And does any glazing have to be a true transparency? Only gonna be, you know, we've had buildings before that
no,
ain't that fake. Like I think CVS did in Uptown, right? Did they have some fake windows or to match,
Yeah.
keep matching?
yeah,
One of them or two of them does not have, you can't look into them or look out, it's just. If he's known, then, yeah, if it's known, then be more anything.
you
That's.
can look out, but you can't look in. There's a few of them are in town.
I'm full. Can I just ask for a little bit more information as to why the setbacks, don't fall within the range of the code? Just so that I understand if there were,
Okay, under the new form-based code,
yeah,
there is what they call a build to zone, BTZ. And, or there's contextual setback. And each transect has a specified build to zone defined within, for the front yard, okay? Before, in the old code, it used to say you had a minimum setback of like 15 feet, and then that had to be clear, and then you could build anywhere behind that.
okay,
But in the new form-based code, it's meant to develop a more walkable type of street environment. So they're looking to pull the buildings closer to the street typically. So you have a build to zone, so you have to build within a certain distance. So you can, 15 feet back is maybe where you can build, and then you can build in front of that. So the reward, you can do contextual. So
I
say
understand
5 to 15 feet, that's where they want the front of your building in this, I think, in this zone. And then contextual, if you have a contextual setback, then you have to look at what is on either side of you within a certain distance and try and
match
you know, somewhere in line.
in a range, so that's nothing completely sticks out as an eyesore.
Right,
So the reason why this doesn't comply and needs a waiver is because they're using the foundation that's existing and it does not fall in.
well, they're adding, putting an addition onto an existing structure that
That is gonna make it
they're
outside.
reusing, and that is well behind the build to zone. So in order for them to meet the build to zone, their old plan came basically all the way out to the street almost, and that worked. But this is a much smaller addition. It's only for the refrigerator and freezer section. So they don't need that huge addition. They'd have to build almost all the way out to the street, and they don't need that. They're trying
This is the
to.
street
Yeah.
out here. This is the street out here.
Yeah,
The existing building is way back here. This is the rear property line. The previous application this was the building. It came all the way out to here. It was much larger. So this is an existing garage that's on the site now that's remaining. We're redoing it, just adding on the refrigeration. And it's, 51 feet from the property line.
does it require signage at all? Because it's just a wholesale and not a retail, like,
Any new construction has to follow the current code. So, as you've shown, so this is your property line here, okay?
Yep.
So your build-to zone, say, is 15 feet back.
Yeah.
Your building has to be up to this point here, okay? So for them to put an addition on this building back here, it would have to come all the way out to here to meet the build-to zone. The addition would, okay? The existing structure is fine the way it is. If he was just reusing the existing structure, then the setback waivers wouldn't even be applicable
But
because
you
it's
can't
pre-existing.
Adding to
But
it.
because it's new construction,
Yeah,
this has to meet your current setbacks.
so they're going this way with the
Right.
addition instead of going this way, but
Even if he
was
came out
that
this way, it would
it would
still be
fall
well, right, fall well short of that,
So
yeah.
the issue really, and the reason why that exists in the code is for the visibility from this front street.
Well, they're trying to create, a streetscape where, you're walking along the street and if you have a shop front or a storefront or even, houses with porches, they want them closer to the street. They want to create that walkable environment. So having things way back, they're trying to connect the buildings and the uses to the use of the street,
Thank you.
okay?
Yeah.
So another change is that there is no dumpster. We did talk to the project owner on that, and he's basically going to be removing the trash on a daily basis to his other locations. So if there's no dumpster at this point on this site. That's it. You can talk about the waivers, because you need to go through your form and come up with some findings.
And so, as far as the facade transparency requirements, I'm inclined to grant that. To support granting that.
We want them to move forward with adding the window though to the front
Yes.
left to increase it. So as part of granting that,
There's a column.
if there's a need for after adding the window, and you still do not meet the 30%, then that's good, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to wait though.
Does everybody else feel strongly about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one for not meeting the front build to zone. I think that would create a lot of, the applicant doesn't need all of that unusable space. And doing so, I think would kind of make the building look out of character for the site.
I would agree. I just would consider either situations in the past or situations maybe in the future that are fall under the same kind of reasoning when the intent of the code was written to create something like specific.
But I'm thinking this is an adaptable reuse of this current building he's gonna use. So keeping that in my focus was that any addition to that, coming towards the street would make it look.
And it's not, I would agree with that. I could, because
I mean, the building's already there.
requiring somebody to build on more they don't need doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Pulling the project back to make it economically sound is a worthy thing to adapt to. But I think when you think about it like that, it's like, you wouldn't be achieving that goal by shifting that addition around to the other side. So regardless, it's being built for the intended use within the scale that they need.
Then things kind of line up to, which goes into the next one of the setback, right? The rear yard setback. Again, I think that if we did follow that rear yard setback, that it would be a jog in the building and it just wouldn't line up.
It wouldn't flow, it wouldn't function properly.
Correct.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, short from demolishing the building and starting fresh, which you're not going to do.
Yeah, and it's just wasteful if you don't have to, yeah.
Does anybody agree with that, those waiver requests?
Yes.
Yep. So we gotta go with the checklist too, right? When did we go to Burby in the top part of the sheet, so?
No.
Good. All right, so this is the,
go ask any questions.
yeah, the planning board waiver checklist for 329 Foxwell Avenue. First one is the applicant has included a waiver request letter that clearly identifies and describes the waiver being proposed, accompanied by plans and other visual representations as applicant. That is a yes, correct? In their letter, the applicant describes in detail why the waiver is needed and how the waiver request is consistent with the intent, design, and compatibility of the transect zone in which the project is located. I agree with that, yes?
Yes.
3, will granting the waiver contribute to the realization of the overall intent of the transect zone and result in an improved project which will be an attractive and durable contribution to the transect zone? I mean, we're putting an addition on an existing building that sets back, so I'm saying yes to that.
Yes, restoring
Yeah.
too.
To support walkable neighborhoods and or mixed-use centers, the project emulates the neighborhood context for how far the buildings relate to the sidewalk, how the facade is designed, and how the building interacts with the street. Is that any on that, or is it? I mean, I'm thinking yes.
I would say yes, more than anything.
Yeah.
Yes or no, not anything.
I agree. It doesn't really take away from it. Like, it doesn't really
The
take
way,
away from it.
the project supports a green and resilient future by, for example, reducing vehicular miles traveled, providing green infrastructure and or street trees and or including high quality usable open space. So they're reducing the size of the addition, right? I mean, so we're preserving more green space. I'm saying yes to that. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The project supports incremental development patterns in its size and density and supports infill development or the reuse of existing buildings. I would say that is a yes,
Yes.
right? Okay. The project supports the provision of a variety of housing types to support a range of income levels, age groups, and family units. That's an NA. Great.
Great.
Right. And the last one is the project specifies street design that is walkable and bikeable and reinforce safe and comfortable environments for all users. All right, good. Yep. All right. All right, so do you, we could do seeker in this thing?
It's type 2 recommended.
Okay, we recognize this as a type B to see if it's enough for is required. Any other questions? Okay. But this time I will make you, I'm gonna have you list all the stuff on there, okay? I will make a motion that we approve item number 3 and soon the list of Condition was policies.
Board policies 4, 485, 6, 7, 10, 11, 13, 18, 22, 23, and 24. And then we'll modify the landscaping plan to show the landscaping up front. And we'll swap out the juniper to a native species in consult with the urban forester. And then we'll add a window to the front left of the door to increase the transparency percentage and recalculate, and you have the with the waivers.
Okay, that is a motion. Do I have a second on that? Second by Sage. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Aye. You said it. Come on up. Yeah. Item number 4 is an extension request. 206 and 208 Flatbush Avenue is an extension request to approve lot line division of the lands of the Kingston Housing Authority. Section block allows 48.74-3-24 and 48.74-3-19. Secret determination transect zone SD-MF. Ward 6, Kingston Housing Authority is the owner. Good evening.
My name is John First. I'm the attorney for the Kingston Housing Authority. Also with me tonight is Nick Chanel. He's the deputy executive director of Kingston Housing Authority. Newly, I think it's been a couple months.
Newly.
Right? It's months or weeks. What are we?
I'm still in the honeymoon phase.
And then you brought security too.
Yes.
The brains behind the operation. The board may recall back in July of 2025, we received a conditional site plan and lot line deletion map approval. The Kingston Housing Authority is proposing, or you guys approve, the demolition of 2 existing buildings at Penn Court and replacing it with a 180-unit building. Also included some other site improvements on Colonial Gardens. Those 2 complexes were on separate tax parcels. We needed to remove that lot line to combine them, to merge them, and to make them one larger parcel because of the funding with the state. So this all kind of happened in July. So we've been working on the conditions of the approval. There's SWIPs. There's actually for the lot line map, which we hear tonight is really the easements and the deeds. The city's already reviewed the easements and the deeds. We're kind of just working with the state, working with all the lenders, working with Mountco to finalize everything for closing. So they're hoping to close sometime in March, April of 2025. So we do need a little bit more time to kind of dot the i's and cross the t's and get us across the finish line. But we should be wrapping things up within the next 2 months.
Okay.
So we'd like an extension for the approval. If you have any questions, am I here?
So, did you ever check with Matt?
I did, he didn't respond back.
Okay.
Whether the two.
John, you might know, we were asking, we saw in the law, hey, could the extension could be granted for 90 days.
Mhm.
And you're asking for 2 consecutive extensions of 90 days. So
Right.
we had put the question to our court counsel if that's possible for us to just grant the 2
So
at the same time.
in my experience, in other municipalities, they usually grant the 2 90-day extensions
For another 180.
at the same time, so that way we're not coming back in 3 months.
Yes.
So that's been my practice when I represent boards, when I ask for these extensions. It's always kind of packaged up into 2 90-day extensions. So, because I think the law says 90 days, but everybody always asks for.
So the law says 90 days, but you can't go past that? That's
You can, it's just we would like 2 consecutive 90-day extensions, if you can grant that now.
Can't you just do it a year?
Yep. You can't, the law says.
That's what I was just asking, was the law says that you can't exceed that, but I thought he said no, so, okay.
So
So that-
2 90-day
Okay.
consecutive extensions.
That's as far as we can go.
No, then there'll be hopefully every month.
I hope you don't see you later. I would stick with the 180 days, that's the practice, is you can, 90 days is the limit, you can grant as many 90-day extensions as you want. So I'm just asking for a 2-for-1 on this request, to save everybody more time.
I think it's.
The moving parts that are going on, this just makes sense.
This type two.
Oh, I gotta do that. Secret. Oh, even though it doesn't say anything.
I know.
Okay, all right.
Okay, was there a way to agree to the request contingent on checking with Board of Council just to make sure that that's not an issue?
Yeah, we'll double check with Matt.
Okay.
As Sue said, under the secret, this is a type 2 action, so no further review of the board is required in this matter. Any other questions? So we're looking at do we word it to 90 days or do we do 100?
So all the other original conditions will remain in place. You're authorizing an extension of 2 90-day extensions consecutively issued with confirmation from Corporation Council that we have that authority.
Okay, so how Sue has just described that, I'll put that into the form of a motion to approve item number 4. Second on that, second by Matt Gillis. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Good.
Thank you very much. Good luck, everything.
Yeah.
Nice seeing you. We have anything else to
That there is an extra item that we got a request from our grants office today for a letter of support for a New York State DOT transportation alternatives grant application that the city is making out of Safe Routes to School. And it's for the Bailey and Edson School area, and it's a sidewalk and other pedestrian improvements. It includes multiple streets around those 2 schools and a portion of Lucas Avenue. So as we heard in the last few months of discussion on Bluestone, there are sidewalks in that area desperately needed. So I wrote a basic paragraph saying in the letter, the form letter that was given, that as a planning board, we are seeing new building activity in the area being targeted for the funding. New housing development will bring more families and children, and safe walking routes are critical to allowing the city to achieve higher densities of much needed housing. Additionally, new sidewalks will accommodate promoting a healthy community with access not only to schools, but services, employment, and other opportunities.
And have they identified where, or they're still working on it, where these sidewalks are gonna be?
I'm sure that they have the project outline. I just got this late this afternoon, so I'm not so sure we would have it tonight. I figured that there wouldn't be an objection to the application. So I just need a motion to allow Wayne to sign this in a second.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, and seconded by Matt.
Hopefully, get all this to labor.
Yeah, all
Aye.
in favor? Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, good. This doesn't make me deep dive.
Good.
Any other business before the board?
The only other thing I want to just do is remind everybody, if you have not done so, you need to do your financial statements, get that in.
When is that due?
Deadline, that's not the middle of February, but you need to get your, get it notarized. There are notaries here in the city hall, you need them. But if you do have it notarized elsewhere, put it in a blank envelope. There's instructions with the form on what to write on the front, and then you have to seal it and sign across the seal of the back. So make sure you do that, and then you can bring it in at any time.
Notary She usually does that in the city.
Right across from clerk's office.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And she usually comes in later in the day and stays later, so
Yeah, she is not, she comes
the
in
city
around.
clerk is a notary as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of them in the building, so.
Who's that? Who's the banks?
There's, you know, there's,
Oh.
yeah, most banks have one. Mm-hmm.
Is Jen all the notaries there? Oh, she's an engineer, see?
Yeah,
Okay.
and many of the attorneys are too, so. Okay,
Okay.
that's all I have. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Matt with a motion to adjourn, Chuck with a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Adjourned at 6:46 PM.
Right.
Right.
It's the first time ever.